The coronavirus COVID-19, or C-19, is spreading quickly around the world. Today, we are going to look at a fatal case. That is, what happens to the body of a patient who dies from the C-19 virus. We will look at the changes in the patient's body over 21 days. Remember, most people who catch the virus will not die. Only around 2% of patients die from this virus, and often they have other health problems. So don't worry too much. Day 1. This is our patient. Today, he caught the coronavirus COVID-19. The patient accidentally breathed in the virus from a friend who already has the virus. We can also catch the virus when we shake hands or touch surfaces with the virus, then later touch our face, eyes, mouth, or nose. After breathing in the virus, the coronavirus C-19 enters directly into the body through the mucosa or mucous membrane in the nasal cavity or nose. From there, the virus travels into the lungs. Our lungs are a vital organ. They help us breathe. Like the rest of our body, the lungs are made up of millions and millions of tiny cells. The small crowns or coronas on the virus's surface connect with the ACE2 enzyme protein on the surface of healthy lung cells. It's like the virus has stolen the key to a house and can let itself in without breaking down doors. The virus then successfully enters the cell in patient X's lungs. As the virus enters the cell, it throws away its disgusting envelope and releases viral RNA. RNA is one kind of building block that are found in cells. This viral strand of RNA is actually very simple. It is made up of only 30,000 basic units. The RNA strand uses the production line in the cell to replicate. The cell helps the virus make many copies of the viral RNA strand. This interferes with the normal function of the cell. As more and more second-generation viruses are produced, the human host cell is no longer any use to the coronavirus, and the C-19 virus abandons the host cell in order to find a new healthy cell to infect and replicate more copies of the virus. Soon, there are 1,000 and million copies of the coronavirus. During this process, our patient does not feel unwell, and he is still living normally, meeting friends, hugging, shaking hands, and maybe infecting his friends with the coronavirus COVID-19. 7 days in, our patient has a dry cough. The virus has already infected and slaughtered a large portion of cilia cells in the lungs. Cilia cells have hair-like strands that make them like brushes. Cilia cells are responsible for cleaning the lungs of debris and excess fluid. The lungs now cannot function effectively because the cilia cells can no longer prevent pollen, dust, and other viruses from clogging up the lungs. The patient's lungs and respiratory tract begin to fill up with mucus and fluid. The lungs become inflamed, and the patient contracts pneumonia. This means the patient now finds it difficult to breathe. The patient thinks his dry cough and fever are just ordinary flu, so the patient takes some antibiotics and some over-the-counter medication to relieve his symptoms. The medicine may help him sleep, but apart from that, there is little or no use in fighting the viral infection. So everything relies on the response of the immune cells. The immune system is like our body's security system. The immune cells receive the signal quickly and can locate the source of the infection. The immune cells begin a full-hearted counterattack against the C-19 virus. Cytokines will be released by the immune cells to fight against the virus. Unfortunately, these cytokines may also damage healthy cells, tissue, and organs. This is called a cytokine storm. 14 days in, our patient goes to the hospital. The immune system begins to build up a full army of immune cells to respond to the viral infection. A steady stream of immune cells enter the lungs to kill the large number of viruses. However, a large number of healthy cells are also mistakenly killed by the immune response, so that the lungs become damaged. The lungs now have a honeycomb structure with many perforations or holes. In the lungs, the effect of the heightened immune response is to increase the permeability of the capillaries or small blood vessels. Permeable means the vessels leak easily. These vessels begin to bleed. The lungs flood with blood and fluid. At this point, the patient has a lot of difficulty breathing. His high temperature has not gone away either, and so he checks in at the emergency ward at the hospital. A CT scan can look into the body. A CT scan is taken of our patient. His lungs appear cloudy with lesions. Lesions are like wounds inside the body. Finally, the doctor tells the patient that he has a serious case of corona C-19. Not long after entering the hospital, the patient has respiratory failure. This means his lungs stop working and he cannot breathe on his own. The patient is given oxygen to breathe using a machine called a respirator. At this point, the infection moves quickly to spread throughout the patient's body. The lungs are damaged, and the virus can enter the blood fluid in the lungs. The blood enters the circulatory system. The circulatory system is the way the blood moves around the body. The virus is carried through the blood to the liver, which is full of blood cells. The liver is essential for a healthy body. It cleans the blood and helps us digest or break down food. It filters toxins from the blood. The liver is very tough. It can usually recover in 4 weeks, but not this time. This time, the huge viral infection of the liver provokes a response from the immune system. The fight between the immune cells and the virus in the liver make the liver become inflamed. This means the liver becomes swollen and painful. Eventually, the liver begins to fail. The viral infection arrives in the kidneys. The kidneys also clean the blood. The virus first enters the kidneys through the blood. There are usually 2 kidneys in the body. Each of the 2 million or so units in the kidney are made up of nephrons and tubules. The tubules are small tubes. They connect to nephrons, which are small, ball-like structures. The nephrons undergo a double attack from both the coronavirus and the immune cells. The nephrons stop working, and toxins or harmful waste begins to build up in the kidneys. This is kidney failure. After the lungs and liver, the kidneys are the 3rd major organ to fail in the patient's body. Our patient is close to death. The doctor has found the coronavirus COVID-19 in the patient's stools. Troponin is an enzyme in the heart. Levels of troponin in the blood samples of our patient are 10 times normal. This is a sign of heart damage. Soon, the patient's heart stops working. The patient's bowels stop working. The doctor puts our patient on an ECMO life support machine. Our patient dies. This is coronavirus COVID-19. It is also called C-19. It looks small and almost harmless. On the outside of the virus are small crowns or coronas. They can bind or connect to the ACE2 receptors in human cells. Under the coronas, we can see the virus envelope. This holds the 3rd part of the virus, the RNA sequence that will be copied. This tiny virus is less than 1% the size of a typical human cell, but very dangerous. We know the virus is airborne and is passed person to person through coughs and sneezes. The droplets from coughs and sneezes also land on surfaces, and when people touch these droplets, they pick up the virus on their hands. Later, if they touch their face, eyes, mouth, or nose, the virus can enter their body too. To help slow the spread of the COVID-19 coronavirus, wear a mask if you have a cough or are ill. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use a tissue when you cough and sneeze. Avoid hugging, kissing, shaking hands, and large crowds. Wipe tables, doorknobs, and handles clean. Keep your phone and laptop screen clean. In these ways, we can lower the viruses that we breathe in or touch.